and everything. But now he's got a new book out, and this is really important because it's a fucking fantastic book. And this is a document of the mid-80s to the early 90s from hip-hop culture in the UK. And that they are visiting rappers and rap groups from the USA. But what we're going to talk about today is his journey in hip-hop in the UK between the mid-80s and the early 90s. Please put your hands together for Normski!
Should we do a sound check?
Do you want me to click through or do you want to?
Oh yeah, I'm going to let you click.
Alright.
Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous. I didn't do my, I was going to do something before. I'm going to take a big pull, but since the book's been completed, I've found out that I've actually reinstated asthma. It's not asthma at all, it's actually, what do you call it? When you get thingamajig.
Anxiety?
Anxiety. I got, and the blood pressure's regular, so we're good.
Alright, cool. Yeah.
I'm not going to do my spin halo, I'm going to go for it.
Well, you know what, if you need a breather or whatever, you can pause.
It's quite a big tube, it looks like I'm doing a bong. Actually, let me get
that's also welcome. That's also welcome.
Let me get this out. When you go to the doctors, yeah, because you are getting old. I was 58 on the 1st of this month. It's a big deal. That's not the tube. I'm going to make it into a bong when I get home later. This is what the nurse gave me when I thought I was having a heart attack or a panic attack, and she said, no, you've just got high anxiety, you need to calm down a bit. So I'm going to do one puff for you. And you shake it up. The reason why the tube is used is because back in the day, you used to take this straight down your neck and it would freeze your neck out and you'd be taking too much too quick. But what this thing does is it's a chamber. And when you do it, you let it settle in the chamber and then you breathe in and out and you don't waste anything. Ready to go, bro.
So we've talked before, but like you getting into hip hop culture, it wasn't so much as like, oh, I need to get involved in that. It was happening around you. It was friends, and it was the 80s. It was the early mid 80s. So you're getting involved in this. In where are you from in London?
So I'm from northwest London. Really, I'm a northwest Wheezy guy. Mum and dad Jamaican. I was born in 1966 when everything in the United Kingdom was in black and white. And and I was very lucky in a sense that when we lived in Kilburn, big family Caribbean Jamaican house, there was an opportunity for my mother to move her 2 children out of the big family house, which is basically living in one room and having a toilet in the garden and being washed in a basin. Can you believe I'm that old? I'm very lucky to have been washed in the sink. The bath was, that was a big look. You couldn't afford to fill a bath in those days. So I came into this scene of this world that was in a transition or transferring from the old thing to new generation, just new integrated, new first generation of black people in this wonderful country, etc. So I grew up in this changing time, and the point I'm making is that I was actually around before hip-hop, which turned 50 last year. So I'm 8 years older than hip-hop. So I kind of was waiting for something that was going to be for me in my life, because around that time, no disrespect to stuff that I do love and I've gone and grown with, I wasn't really feeling mud or AC/DC. And not in our household. We were listening to Al Green and lots of reggae music and very R&B, rhythm and blues, not this modern R&B that my family would listen to. And kind of no young person really gives a shit about their elders' music. They want their own thing, and this movement was happening with likewise people that looked like me, sounded like me a bit, but they had American accents, but they looked like something that you'd never seen before. These people, they look cool as fuck. And so I said, yeah, well, I'm the official soul-to-soul photographer. I did actually do a photo session with Jazzy and HB probably a few months before that, hoping one of my photographs would have been used for the single sleeve. In the end, the photographs were used for PR, for the shop they had in Camden. I wasn't good enough to get the single sleeves yet. They already had certain photographers that were working for the sleeve, for the companies. So I was in-house. So when I did say, oh, I'm the official photographer, I actually was.
Yeah.
Because when Jazzy turned up, when the limos turned up to the venue and then they opened the loading back gates, that was the moment when I realised the importance of how the people I've grown with and what we were doing with music and stuff was, because the limos came in and then one limo stopped and the door opened and Jazzy got out and he literally shit his pants. He was so happy to see a homeboy. Can you imagine? You would be nervous. Grammy award winning, biggest thing in Billboard. That's the next level shit when you're about 20 odd years old. You're not used to that then. When he saw my face, he was like, Skeezo! I was like, Jazzy, yeah man. He's like, what? I was like, what? What? 3 limos? He's yeah, Karen's got one, the dancers and women's in the next one. I said, you lot got to kill it. So, and I got a photo, and then Chuck D turned up. I don't know where Chuck D turned up from. Chuck D turned up from somewhere. Bam! I got a photograph of them together. I said, where's Karen? He goes, she's in that one. I went, oh, don't say nothing. Do not say nothing. I'm surprised. She don't expect to see Normski from flipping Camden in the middle of flipping New York. So that photograph is my kind of photo. I just opened the door and went, Karen! Bam! This is what you call, they call it reportage, paparazzi, shit like my kind of photography, this is the kind of photography that I like, is you're in it amongst it. I don't really do that stuff from like long lenses, and this comes back to young gentleman just now. He's got a Mui camera on him, 35mm camera. There he is. This is a very basic compact camera from Olympus, very simple. I think I've got 4 of them now. I didn't use that. This is my OM. I use OM Olympus cameras throughout most of my life. Any on 35mm is all OM stuff, which is the majority of the book. But I always loved the idea of being like around us breakdancers with the baseball cap. That's the vibe I try and catch.
Well, you have to be close to get a good shot like this. You have to in some way be part of their comfort zone, their circle.
Absolutely.
In some ways.
I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm a calling card. I think people see me, and very early on, people like Jazzy, and Karen and Nana Cherry and people like that, they'd see me and they'd look at me and they know what we were up against. There weren't any, let me just get this out now, there was no black photographers working for major magazines, okay? Let's get that straight. Okay, I'm like the first guy that got into ID, as far as I know. Edward Enfield, he was like the editor, fashion editor for ID when I was doing like the news stuff for them, live gigs. They always sent me to black stuff, and I don't mind because that was my shit. But then I also got a chance to expand and say, yeah, actually I don't mind working and doing other stuff. I don't just photograph black people because I'm black, and break that stereotype down.
Right, next up, love this photo, fucking hell.
This takes it right back to 1985. Possibly 1986, because it's such a long time ago. That year, I can't remember. Might be a leap year, who knows. Anyway, it was a very, very long time ago, and this is at the Camden Town, the Camden Town Hall, which is in Euston, that's right, Camden Town Hall. And it was a hip-hop event, which was the Hip Hop Alliance, which is fronted by a guy called Ricky Reynolds, who was part of the Brixton Rec and the Brixton scene. And what Ricky used to do, he'd get all those little young kids and young people off the streets and give them a space, and they'd start to learn to DJ. He saw the light. He saw this hip-hop thing was a thing to get young people active, express themselves, get them off the streets, doing creative stuff, graffiti. First time I ever saw graffiti was through that guy. In fact, I owe a lot to Ricky Reynolds and the Hip Hop Alliance, because they were keen and they saw me as a young black photographer. They said, yo, you need to come to this jam, you need to take pictures. So I went down there, and at that time, and people were always going on about female DJs, female artists ain't getting respect. Oh, shut up. These were major signings first. Moni Love, Cookie Crew. There's Wee Pepper Girls. There's not many. These girls were smashing it. And the beautiful thing about this is that they're English girls and they're a very big part of it. And I just had that moment where I was like, well, we just need to try and get those dynamic American shots. And one of the things I love about UK artists, they're not American. So you never get that dynamic. And the other thing I also love about being the kind of photographer I've been is that I've been born and brought up in England, and the light I've learned with has been through black and white photography. At age 13, I had a dark room. My mum and dad got me some darkroom equipment. I just went in. We were talking about ADH before, we were talking about OCD, talking about just have a thing that my guy, TPI, what's that one? RSI. I didn't realise what that was till you said, now I know I got RSI too. Madness. But yeah, the photography was a way for me to release all of that. Yeah. I would go into the dark room and I would be in there for a day. Through the night, I used to go in the dark room all night when everyone was sleeping in the house. And the dark room was a cupboard, and I used to wash in the bathroom, which is a good walk. So I was very paranoid about light hitting my paper, and I was probably really annoying son to have. Especially when my mum was working on shifts and getting up early at about 6 in the morning as a bus conductress, and she's got to move my prints out the bath because I'm still washing. Then the other thing I didn't realise, because I had a little drip thing with a little plastic thing in the bath, like where the plug goes, I'd have a little plastic tube which was from the developing tube, and then I'd run water into it that would come to about 4 inches, and that was my wash, and the water would never overflow. I'd wash my prints. Then I'd have the drying line, which is where you put the washing. That would have loads of prints drying. I just took over the whole house. Thankfully, I've got the book out and I've got work in the museum, so my mum's very proud. But I can't imagine what an annoying child I would have been. Get out! I'm in the dark room! Don't open the door! It's freaky.
So the next shot, I think this is. I'm gonna be real. This is the coolest I think a band or a group can ever look. This is the coolest you can ever look in a press shot as a band, and it's a British band.
I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm excited to see. Oh my God, yes.
This is Hijack from South London. Look at that. It's like the terrorist Shaolin vibe. We've got a yin yang, we've got a sword, we've got balaclavas. That is, if you're in a band, that you're never going to be as cool as that.
This is a very interesting area in 1989, 90, maybe 1990. But they were always called Hijack the Terrorist Group. And they were a UK band from South London, and they took no prisoners. They had and still to this day have a very aggressive approach. They don't go on the stage and be nice to other artists. They don't play no one. They go up there and make noise and get the out of town. And Ulysses, who sadly is on the far left side, he's passed away just last week. God bless him. But he was a very important part of the group. Didn't rap, didn't DJ, didn't do anything, but he was the overseer of the yin and yang. The yin and yang, the balance. And an interesting reason, why is it yin and yang? Nobody ever talked about that with Hijack. Comanche Star at the front, he's mixed race, he's light skinned. Ulysses is black, and the guy that you can only just about see, he was only part of the crew. The white guy, you can just about see him. You can see him, you can see him. He's got he's got a fucking stocking over it, like he's gonna go and rob a bank. So they came about, I just thought it was funny, they came in balaclavas, so you couldn't recognise anyone, and everyone was really intimidating. And he didn't have a balaclava, he put the stocking. You couldn't get any rougher. The other thing I love about this photograph, which is ridiculous, and bearing in mind Ulysses is a sword expert, he's not just posing, he's trained and mentored people in kung fu and martial arts, especially sword work and etc. And they were going to do this intimidating shot for their new album. They got signed to a big label in America. Of course, the Americans wanted to use their photographer, so they didn't use my stuff. It's all right, because this was used as a pre to that launch of the album, and this sucker was a poster in the UK for about a week. Why was it only a week? Because the fucking IRA had done some work at Harrods, and it was deemed in bad taste to have this. Well, guess what? 2024, every fucker's got a balaclava on. It's not fashion now, isn't it? Mad, isn't it? The joke thing here, they won. The beautiful thing about it, though, is, for me personally, is where did you ever think you could bring a broadsword to a photo shoot? With knife crime nowadays, back then no one, the police, see that wall at the back, right at the top? We climbed a 15, 20 foot wall to get into this area that they had found in Vauxhall. We got up and over it. It was dangerous getting into that spot. It's a massive area. They've knocked the buildings down. There was nothing going on. There was a big open space with a big wall around it, and all the buildings in the middle were gone. And there was a point when we were shooting, and this policeman's head came up. Oh, fucking going on here! And then there were a couple of them came up from nowhere, and I don't know how they kind of came onto the plot. I'm not sure how that worked out. But they were like, what are you doing? I said, I'm just doing a college project. These guys, they're like a rap group, and they're like, right, okay, is that a sword? I went, yeah. He goes, well, you know, what are you going to do with that? Is that like half a round table? You know what police are like, trying to be funny. And Ulysses was standing there going, let's working out, and I thought, we're going to get shut down. But we didn't actually get shut down, but they did say to us, you need to do what you're doing and get off this plot and get away and get rid of those swords, because otherwise we're going to have to arrest you. And that was another thing I used to love of my photo shoots, which I do a lot of location more than anything else, is that it's all about capturing a moment and capturing time. And the less time you have, I think the more you emphasise the moment. And I think I love the idea, when we do it, we call it guerrilla style. I love the idea of rocking up to a location. There's a shot coming, and I'll tell you about it, where you rock up to a location and it don't look normal, and the security guards come from nowhere going, what are you doing? Because it's photos. You can't do that here, you need permission. Okay, well, we're finished. Boom, gone. And that's how I've always worked. You know, the time when you get permission and it's 500 quid location fee, the whole thing's taking too long already.